Welcome, everybody. I am excited. I'm being joined today by Stephen Richards. Stephen Richards is the CEO and president of Better Body Foods, a natural and organic foods company that he co-founded in 2007. Stephen Richards, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
All right, so I got to ask you, okay, 2007, what was happening that made you want to get into this very competitive, crazy business?
Yeah. So, historically, I come from a family of diabetes, and it's on both sides of my family. And my mother had it, my grandparents had it. So growing up, food and eating healthier and avoiding sugar and, was one of the things that I just grew up with naturally. So we've always had a natural interest in food. And, really, I heard about agave nectar at some point. I mean, I was involved with a small little investment group, and we were involved in a number of different companies. And I heard about agave nectar, and I thought I could change the world with the stuff. It was a low glycemic sweetener. I didn't know anything about the grocery industry, what it took to get into it, what it took to get distribution, or anything of that nature. And but just really felt like I could make an impact, and jumped into the business. And I joke with people now, had I known what I know now, I would have never invested in myself. It is, as you mentioned, a highly competitive, difficult industry that takes time, effort, energy. And, a lot of the distribution, frankly, doesn't make a lot of sense in how people do business in this business, in the consumer products business. And so, nevertheless, I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been into it now, 13 years. It's 2020, a little over 13 years. And what I enjoy about it is I am shocked, amazed, surprised, really almost every single day at something. There's something new that comes up, and just it makes you shake your head. Sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way, but nevertheless, it's a learning. It's a learning every single day. There's just no question about it.
Yeah. All right, so let me ask you this. Tell us a little bit about the weirdness of the distribution in the food business, because a lot of people don't realize how incredible, what I'm looking for, how incredibly hard it is to get space and keep space. Talk a little bit about that.
So there are different channels, and now, since I started the business, the internet channel has become fairly significant. It really didn't exist just 13 years ago, frankly, when I started the business for the food industry, in any event. And then you have the club channel, which is Sam's Club, Costco, BJ's really are the only three. And then you have the traditional grocery channel, and there are several channels of distribution within that. Some grocers take it direct, others go through distributors. Sometimes, depending on the product, they may take it through both systems. And then, you have C-stores, convenience stores, which we aren't really in that channel. And then you have pharmacy, which is, Rite Aid, Walgreens, CVS. And their distribution systems are a little bit different. So, when you meet with a buyer, if you meet with a buyer directly at one of the grocery stores, oftentimes you'll be having conversations, and they'll be discussing pricing, and then, subsequent to that meeting, you'll learn what the distribution channel is, and the different distribution channel have different costs, which of course you as a supplier are expected to absorb. So, those are things you learn early on and have to get your hands around, because at the end of the day, we are about creating value. We manufacture everything we make so that we can get it to market at a good price, and then hopefully it doesn't get consumed, what I'll call, that value pricing doesn't get just consumed in the distribution channel. So as a result, we do very well with companies that we do business with directly, and and ship directly to, that don't have what I call a bunch of intermediaries. And those would be, Winco would be a great example. H-E-B out of Texas would be a great example. Walmart would be a great example. Obviously the clubs, Costco, Sam's, BJ's, would also be great examples of where they really do take product directly and cut out the intermediaries. And this business and getting good pricing really is about logistics. And people didn't realize. I remember reading about Sam Walton in the 80s when Walmart was, all the rage and growing dramatically. And I remember reading an article in the Wall Street Journal specifically and talking about how Sam had figured out logistics. And of course, that didn't mean anything to me at the time. I was a young business guy, and how they said Walmart's more a logistics company than a retailer. Well, now I get it and understand the importance of it. So, anyways, those are just some of the challenges that we have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's so funny you brought up Walmart, because I remember the same thing. I remember there was, I want to say, a regular, at least several times a year, an article would come out about how Walmart logistics was so impressive that they were like the gold standard, because they were able to move things around, and that's where they really invested a lot of their money, and sometimes it would save them 3 or 4% because of their ability to move things around.
Yeah, and they are very good at it. They're a very impressive organization. When I got into the business, a lot of people said, "Oh, watch out for Walmart." To be honest with you, I find them fantastic to do business with. They're very straightforward. They negotiate hard on pricing, but there aren't all what I'll call a bunch of hidden fees within their structure, and they do what they say they're going to do. And my experience with them has been, frankly, utterly fantastic, and really enjoy doing business with them.
Yeah. All right. So let me ask you this. Right before the show, you and I were talking about COVID, how things have changed dramatically in COVID. In fact, you invested a large amount of money in your Zoom conference rooms. So talk about how COVID has affected your company and the way you do business.
Yeah. So it's a great question. When COVID started, we actually didn't know how it was going to affect our business. I don't think anybody realized. In fact, I sort of planned for the worst and assumed that there was going to be this, kind of a Great Depression, if you will, right? Everybody's going to be out of work. Everybody's going to be sick. And I was expecting, a commensurate decline in our business. We've experienced quite the opposite for a couple of reasons. One is, several years back, I did see the writing on the wall in terms of the internet becoming a significant distribution channel for the food industry, with Amazon.com and then Walmart.com joining in the picture, and then Instacart and some others joining that are actually providing that service to the other retailers like Albertsons and Kroger, et cetera, et cetera. And so we actually, about 3 or 4 years ago, began to invest in our internet folks. And, our internet group went from 1 person to 2 people. Now it's, I think, about 12 people that deal in kind of social media e-commerce area for us. And that investment really paid off, because I think going into COVID, you had maybe 3% of all groceries were sold over the internet through those various channels that I just discussed. I actually do not know what the number is today, but I would venture to say that number has probably, if it hasn't doubled, it would certainly be in the 5 to 6, 5%, maybe even more of all groceries are now sold through the internet. And let me tell you how I define internet. First, you have kind of the direct to consumer through Amazon, which Amazon would buy from us. They would warehouse it. They would deliver it, just like any other client. The second is, Walmart.com, where you can actually go buy it. They'll deliver it to your home, similar to Amazon. But then they also have the pickup, the grocery pickup on site, and that business is really growing, because again, that last mile, I don't think really people have figured out how to effectively deliver goods at cost effectively at a decent price. But certainly if you're just sort of collecting stuff within your store, and if you look at Walmart, they've got 4,200 stores or 4,200 warehouses, around the country that are conveniently located. To be able to go online, order your groceries, and show up and pick it up, super convenient, reduces your interaction with folks. And if you're concerned about COVID, which everybody is, your interactions are significantly less. You don't have to go in store. So I think we see that business growing and continuing to grow significantly. So we continue to invest, in that business. And sorry, Bert, I'm running on here, but if you think about how people shop now, it used to be they would go into a grocery store, they'd walk up and down the aisles, and products would sort of perk their interest, and they'd see something interesting and pull it off and look at it and read about it and whatever. Now people hear about stuff on the internet. It's like, I want that. Then they can immediately go, to their favorite grocer and purchase that and either have it shipped to their home or pick it up. So, and of course, you're able to provide a heck of a lot more information about your products, pictures, videos now, demonstrating how to use the products, et cetera, online. So it really is a fantastic medium, particularly if you have products that require education. And most of our products do require some level of education.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that, because one of the things that your company does is create this product called Oatsome.
Yeah.
And it's oat milk.
Correct.
This blows my mind because oat milk just kind of popped out of nowhere, right? So why don't you talk a little bit about Oatsome and the rise of oat milk?
Yeah. So we do business internationally. And I've been doing, our major brand, we have 3 different brands. We have Oatsome is one of our brands, as you mentioned, which is oat milk. We have PB Fit, which is a peanut butter powder. And then we have Plant Junkie, which is a line of plant-based dressings and mayos. And of course, we have Better Body Foods, which we sell a number of items under the Better Body Foods. So we actually have 4 brands that we operate. And I got interested in oat milk about 4 or 5 years ago in Europe. I tasted it for the first time, and I just, I've tried alternative milks. I didn't care for almond milk, didn't care for soy milk, which were kind of the 2, and rice milk. I sort of tried them all. As I think everybody's looking to increase the number of plant-based foods that they consume in their diet. And I tried them and just wasn't impressed and was never into them. And then all of a sudden I tried oat milk, and it's like, wow, this is a fantastic product. So about 4 years ago, we really sort of dove into it to try to figure out, how to make it, what it would take to, get into a facility to make it. And we started talking with several different folks about, sourcing it and trying to figure out the best product. What I love about oat milk is it's got a nice creamy texture to it. It's made from oats, which everybody knows are naturally healthy. They've got a great fiber component into them that's heart healthy. Oat milk has a great natural flavor. You don't have to add a bunch of stuff to it to make a flavor. So if you look at Oatsome's ingredients, very clean label. And then lastly, it behaves like milk. Our regular Oatsome is about the equivalent of a 2% of low-fat milk. We do have a barista version, which is equivalent of whole milk. But if you can pour that on your cereal and it doesn't get watered down or groggy. I've tried almond milk, for example, on my cereal, and I felt like I was just pouring water on it. There was no creamy texture to it. Oat milk does have a nice creamy texture to it. And then, if you put it in your coffee, it behaves like milk. You can even froth it. So if you go into coffee shops and you like a cappuccino or a mocha, you can actually get an oat milk-based cappuccino or mocha that's got a nice froth on top of it that is oat milk. So I don't know that any other oat milk out there, or any alternative milk, I'll call the alternative milk market, behaves or tastes like oat milk. And at the end of the day, it really boils down to taste and texture, I think, when it comes to food. And so what you've got is a product with just a fantastic taste and texture. And of course, following our, being consistent, we want to have the highest quality, highest certified product on the market. So ours is certified gluten-free, certified organic, certified kosher. And certified, non-GMO project. So we're really happy with the product and what it is. And by the way, we launched it, roughly a year ago, and we're off to a very, very good start. We're in a number of locations. By the end of the year, we'll be in about 7,000 locations.
Wow, that's incredible. And so, when I think of oats, obviously I'm thinking, oatmeal primarily. And so, to create a gallon, let's say, of Oatsome, how much oatmeal does it take to go from oatmeal, the solid, to gallon of milk?
Yeah, so let me do the math. It's about 2.2 pounds to create 7 liters.
Okay.
It's about 3.5, 4 liters per gallon. So if you take sort of 4. So a gallon would be, I'm going to say roughly 1.5 to 1.8 pounds. So I know people don't deal in metrics here in the U.S. So probably 1.5 to 2 pounds, roughly between 1.5 to 2 pounds to create a gallon of milk.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I love about these alternative milk products is that it really helps with the environment. It relieves the stress, that the cows put on the planet. That's, the only the only way I know how to say it is, to keep a cow healthy and productive takes a lot of water. It takes a lot of land. And I think somebody, there was an article in I can't remember the person's name, but they said that it takes roughly, I think, to produce, a pound of beef. It takes like 10 gallons of water, and to produce a pound of, let's say, vegetables, it's like a gallon of water. So it's a huge difference.
Yeah, and look, the dairy industry is an important industry here in the U.S. and always has been. And just let me preface this by saying I do feel for the plight of the dairy farm and the dairy industry at this point. There's a lot of family farms that are going out of business, which is unfortunate. You never really like to see that. But Americans' dietary demands, the planet's demands, given the population is now 7 billion plus people, is changing. And if you do look at the requirement, to grow the food to feed an animal, I mean, the animal really just becomes an intermediary, if you will, for human consumption of food. So by definition, it's a lot more time, effort, and energy associated with creating food for the animals, and a lot of that food could be directly for human consumption. That's one thing. Second, you talked about sustainability. Well, it's the same issue, but oats are one of the most sustainable products out there. If you look at almonds, for example, it takes a gallon of water to grow one almond. So not all plants are sustainable products either.
Yeah.
And so it takes a significant amount of water to grow an almond, whereas it's far less for oats. They're one of the most they're one of the least thirsty plants, I think, out there in terms of growth and what you get out of it. And then that goes directly into human consumption, right? As opposed to being fed to something else, so that's fed to something else that then gets into our food chain.
Sure. Well, you know what, and to address the changing landscape, and nobody, especially entrepreneurs, we don't like to see anybody lose their business or their company or their livelihood. But unfortunately, that's just part of the what do you call it? The entrepreneurial life cycle. I mean, you look at Blockbuster. They were the dominant entertainment rental leader in that industry for years, and then but they basically refused to adapt. They had multiple chances to do a deal with Netflix, and they didn't think that Netflix was a viable method until they started losing massive amount of market share. And bottom line is, they're gone. They disappeared. And so I think that farmers, and I know I'm going to get some grief for this, but farmers sometimes throw a little pity party like, hey, I'm a farmer, therefore you need to support what I do. Well, that's not the way it works in business. You have to support what the customers want. And if the customers want, grass-fed beef, well, that's what you have to do. If the customers want, oat milk, well, you need to change what you're doing to take care of the customers, not the other way around. And so, we love our farmers. Our farmers, are ingrained in our history. But at the same time, there's a lot of multi-millionaire farmers out there that, will still cry and have a pity party because that's how they get some subsidies and stuff like that. So, again, as an entrepreneur, nobody likes to see an industry die. Nobody likes to see a business go out of business. Nobody wants to make a bunch of families unemployed. But it's the market, it's the consumers who basically make that or break that. I mean, it's, if all of a sudden, if the consumer stopped wanting oat milk, I'm assuming you're going to stop making oat milk if you can't sell it.
Well, that's exactly right. And the reality is, look, I come from a family of farmers and ranchers. My great grandfather was a sheep farmer, and my wife's side of the family, her grandfather was a farmer as well. And in fact, my great grandparents were in the dairy industry, to some extent, not hugely. Back then you sort of did sheep and beef and ranch and pig and kind of the whole gamut, right? And that goes back 3 generations now, but farming is like any other business, and dietary changes have come and are coming and are going to continue to come, and I think if you're in the farming business, you have to look at that and to say, how do I change to meet the changing needs of the consumers? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the consumer and about bringing products that the consumer wants and needs or is willing to purchase. And so everybody has to be smart. And we just live in a world today where things are, the shifts that are happening so quickly that you always have to be looking out there and say, hey, what's the change? What's going to happen? How do I position myself, to take advantage of that change? Or how do I position myself to keep alive, right?
Right.
I know every day we've got 150 employees here, Bert, and every day I wake up and say, how do I keep these people employed, right? How do I keep them gainfully employed and working and growing the business? And I will say that literally every day I think about that. And the decisions I make do impact those lives as well as other lives. And so I think everybody that's in business needs to wake up every day and just say, hey, what's going on in the world and how does this impact my business and what should I be thinking about? And you have to place some bets, and sometimes they're hard to place and challenging, but that's what we got to do. And particularly in this world, and just how, look at, we're sitting here on a podcast. Podcasts didn't exist 10 years ago.
Right.
Right. And a lot of people listen to podcasts now, and that's where they get their news and information, because unfortunately, the news has just gone so political now that, news ain't news anymore. And to get real information, you almost have to listen to folks such as yourself. So,
well, that's absolutely true. And you look at, again, that was dictated by the consumer.
Yeah.
It's just not that the news is not important, but bottom line is, if I was Fox News or CBS or whatever, and some of them, I think CBS has started doing this. I know some of the other media companies, you have to have a podcasting platform, because not everybody wants to listen, as you mentioned, to politics, and they want to listen to something that's more personal to them. Maybe they want to learn about investing or fitness, or time management or whatever. And so only a podcast can do that and really focus in on that interest. So real quick, do you by chance have a sample of Oatsum that you can show us? What are we looking for when we go to the grocery store? Yeah,
actually, can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah.
I'd love to get some samples of product. Hey, Keisha, can you get some samples of Oatsum? I also get a sample of spreads and stuff, and you could get just some of our, the various products that we offer, including Oatsum. So with Oatsum, by the way, we do have 5 products now that will be in the marketplace by September. We have Oatsum Regular, which is roughly the equivalent of a low-fat milk. It's slightly less than 2%, but this is called low-fat 2% milk. We have a barista version, which is 4% whole milk. So here's a sample of some of our products that I'll bring in. This is the Oatsum product right here. Comes in a 1 liter. By the way, this is a shelf-stable product, so it can be found on the shelf in what we call center store, or in some cases, people are putting in the refrigerated set. I would like to address that issue for a minute.
Sure.
In the United States, we're so accustomed to buying milk in the refrigerated set that we just think, that's the only place we can buy it. If you go anywhere else in the world, milk is really sold in a shelf-stable format. So this can actually sit on the shelf for 12 months. Now, once it's open, you have to consume it within about 10 days. For some reason, Americans perceive it, shelf-stable product is not tasting good. I will tell you, when it comes to oat milk, the process of manufacturing oat milk, whether it's sold in the refrigerated set or on the center store area, with beverages, it's the same process. And it tastes exactly the same. So, if you're a consumer want to try oat milk, you can order this on Walmart.com, Amazon.com. They can ship it to you. It's found in the center store, in Kroger and Walmart and Hannaford if you're in the Northeast and others. And it's on the shelf, but you can have a high degree of comfort. This product tastes absolutely fantastic. And I think it has a lot of benefit because you can buy it, take it home during pandemic times. You can keep it in, just your regular shelf, right, in the cupboard, and then just pull it out as you need it. But that's our 2% product.
Hey, hold on a second. So Oatsum right there in that container has a 12-month life cycle.
Shelf life.
Thank you, shelf life. And then once you open it, you need to consume it in about 10 to 12 days?
Correct. It needs to be refrigerated, but it needs to be consumed within about 10 days once you open it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's the product. And as you can see, it's organic, gluten-free, non-GMO, and it's just got some, beautiful packaging.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Some of the other products, Bert, that we have is PB Fit, which is our primary brand and our largest brand that we're most well for now. Peanut butter powder. And again, the benefit of this product is 87% less fat. And it's basically, 60% protein product, roughly. So all you do is add water to it. It reconstitutes into peanut butter. It tastes just like peanut butter. Fantastic for smoothies, shakes, for baking, making it into peanut butter or a spread, using it as dressings. And so this product is doing very, very well and continues to grow for us just because there's so many natural sort of health benefits. Again, very clean label, only three ingredients in it, and got a great shelf life as well. So we do that. Then we just recently launched a PB Fit protein spread. So it's just like peanut butter. It tastes just like peanut butter, but it's actually got 42% more protein than peanut butter and about 20% less fat than peanut butter. And it tastes every bit as good as peanut butter. So we're really excited about this product going to the shelf as well. I'll send you some samples, Bert.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great. So back to the peanut butter spread there. What did you call it? The peanut butter protein?
PB Fit. P is for peanut, and B is for butter. So PB Fit.
Right.
And it's a powder.
And then what's the other one? What's the smaller one you showed me?
So the smaller one is actually a spread. We can't call it peanut butter because it's not 100% peanut butter. What we do is we take peanut butter and then we take the oil that we press out of this. So this is actually roasted peanuts that we press the oil out of. Well, then we use the oil with this to mix it because we actually, peanuts, when you press peanuts and press the oil out of them, you're left with a powder. And peanut is about 55% protein, the residual powder. Well, pea is about 80% protein. So what we do is blend pea protein. So it's 100% plant-based protein supplement. I'm sorry, on this product. We blend pea protein with it, and then we add back in the roasted peanut oil. So you get that peanut flavor with a significantly higher protein content and less fat. And we do this in a regular and a chunky. And we also do an almond spread, the same now that we just sort of launched. But all those I'm very excited about these products in particular. As they hit the marketplace. I'm excited about Oatsum. I'm excited about these new spreads I get excited about all these products. I just love this business. But anyway, we have some interesting things coming out.
Sure. If you can't get excited about your product, then nobody else can, right?
That is for sure. You got to be excited yourself, or that enthusiasm actually, I think, comes through. But it's got to be real, right?
It's got to be real. Hey, we're out of time. But if somebody wants to find out more about, if they want to go to your website and get Oatsum or try the PB Fit, what's the best website to go to?
Yeah, I would just go to www.betterbodyfoods.com. We also have pbfit.com, and they'll sort of go back and forth. Or, you can just go to Amazon or Walmart.com and then just type in Oatsum or type in PB Fit, and it'll take you right there. We don't direct ship off our website, but it will direct you. It'll click you through to where you can buy it. So you can go to our website, which is Better Body Foods or Oatsum or PB Fit. All of our brands actually have their own website as well. But yeah, we'd love for you to come. And if you have questions, you can. I think I provided you with information on how people can reach out to us. We'd be happy to get back with them and answer any questions.
Great. Anyway, so this has been a blast. I love learning about what you're doing, and certainly I'm excited to try Oatsum and some of your other products as well. And Stephen, looking forward to have you back again.
Great, thanks, Bert. Anytime. I appreciate the opportunity and look forward to working with you in the future.
All righty. Thank you.
Take care, sir. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.